matter of ongoing concern with various challenges affecting the safety and well-being of its citizens. And this complex issue encompasses a range of issues from insurgency to banditry and communal violence, posing significant challenges to the country. As a matter of fact, the data we see now shows that a total of 1,228 people were reportedly killed, while 844 were kidnapped in Nigeria between January the 1st and April 30th this year, representing a period of 4 months. And it doesn't stop there. It says, according to the same data, a total of 407 persons were killed in the Northwest, 389 in the North Central, 128 in the Northeast, 118 in the Southeast, 106 in the South-South, and 80 in the Southwest is what makes up the total. So first, Olatunbosun, let's get this sorted out quickly. The primary purpose or function of a government, what do they say about it in the Constitution being providing security?
Sorry, may I have to say that again? And if possible, if you can up the volume from your end. I'm having difficulties picking out everything you said.
Okay, so I'm taking you for us to get this conversation started, asking the primary function of a government or society is said to be the protection of its citizens. Now, taking that to put side by side beside the insecurities we've gotten in this country, is that enough to say that the government has failed?
No, it's not enough to say that the government has failed, especially if we're talking about the government of the day or talking about the past government. Insecurity in Nigeria has been an ongoing thing for the past more than 1 decade. And without giving any excuse on behalf of anybody, we will all agree that we have a problem of insecurity. And the problem of insecurity we have in Nigeria is not a mono-monitored or mono-defined one. It comes in different form. If you are not being killed by herders in the farm, you are being killed by bandits on the road, or your village is actually being taken over, or your children are being kidnapped en masse from their schools. And these are the types of things we've dealt with or we've encountered in the last more than 1 decade. To say we are able to curb, contain, or reduce it is not something that I can attest to. But the area I'm a little bit concerned about is the area of accountability. Okay. I want to appreciate the fact that you are able to come up with a figure of what number of people were killed in each geopolitical zone in Nigeria. No matter how little it is, even at 1 life loss, it is an appalling result. And the issue of counterterrorism, where I'm going to start up with you, is not a duty of the government alone. There are 2 ways to go against insecurity. You either go anti-it, that is anti-insurgency, anti-terrorism, anti-whatever, or you go counter it. Now, when we say anti, that is anti-insecurity, yes, the government is trying what we can call their best. That doesn't mean that they cannot do better. But I think there is a huge of minus on the area of counterterrorism. The reason why I'm measuring counterterrorism is terrorism is not the only problem we have. We have communal clashes, which is costing us lives. We have separatist crisis, which is also costing us lives in the southeast part of Nigeria. Just recently, it was announced that somewhere in Abia, number of people were killed. But there is no accountability. There is no accountability on the part of government. For instance, now, about 120 people was calculated to have been killed last week. We've not seen 100 families coming out to shout that their loved one are missing. Nobody is missing anybody. If there is a plane crash in Nigeria, for instance, and there are 10 people who lost their life in the plane crash, all media, including BBC and CNN, would have reported it. So we need to ask ourselves this pertinent question. Why are we, as a country, or why is our government becoming comfortable with a massive loss of life? That is one area that we really need to touch. Why are our people dying in hundreds and we don't have 100 people coming out to say, we are the family of these people that died? I've received some very, very nasty and gory pictures and video in the last 1 week.
So why?
Vice versa. And this corresponding vice versa is not coming from anybody. So the issue of accountability on the part of the government, on the part of the citizenry, is appalling. And until we start working on that area, we may continue to go around in circle, unfortunately.
You've raised the question of the why now. So why, in your opinion, do you see that it seemed like it's becoming, well, it's one of those things when people lost their lives due to insecurity in any part of the country? And why do you think also on the part of the citizens, it's becoming like one of those things?
Okay. The complacence on the part of the citizen when it comes to issues affecting lives and property is very, very appalling. The last thing everybody prepare for is insecurity, even at the rate where we have. I don't know if you heard anything about insecurity in your church on Sunday. Was it preached? Were you given insecurity advice? I don't know in the community where you live whether you received any notes from the community head about security and insecurity. I don't know when last you had contact with your DPO about insecurity and advice and what you have to do. All these things has to do with the issue of accountability. You see, life lost, but no head rules. You understand? Your senator, your House of Rep, your councillor. Let's start with your local, your LCDA chairman, down to your councillor, down to your DPO, down to your House of Rep member, down to your senator, down to your state governor, local government chairman. How many of these people have come to give accounts? Is it supposed to be like that? I don't think if I'm a local government chairman, people died in my local government and my office is going to be quiet. Who is calling me to order? Are the electorate calling their local government and the politician they put in place to question? When was the last time the IG, the DIGs, the zonal AIGs, the state CPs, the area commander, the local DPO, when was the last time they received a query as a result of what was happening in their domain? You see, until people start being held accountable, knowing fully well that sitting down in your office and cooling yourself off with AC is no longer enough for your effort. The civil defense are there. There are other agencies that we are spending billions on. People must learn to start to hold them accountable by their names. And now, by the time that happens, we will know who is failing and who is being successful. And I hope that will get everybody to stand up and do what they need to do.
So from accountability, which you raised as a very crucial point of why this insecurity seems to be on the rise, I'd like us to delve into some of the root causes we can identify for this seeming insecurity across the land.
All right. It's a very, very simple thing. We have a beautiful, wonderful, big population that are not engaged. Our old people are getting old and dying, and we are giving birth every day. The children that was given birth to when General Buhari took over governance in 2015, sadly are already being arrested for one crime or the other. So one of the problems we have is that we have a massive young population that are not engaged to do the right thing. There is no job for them. The quality of education we are giving to them is appalling, and they couldn't do anything with it. We are building more churches and mosques everywhere than factories where the people that are attending churches and mosques are supposed to be engaged and working. So there is a popular saying that goes, idle hand is the devil's workshop. And that is why whenever anything bad happens, you will notice that the level of jungle justice we have, from huge number of people carrying it out on the streets, killing people without taking them to court or anything, is very huge. It is because those people are at home and are sitting idle. And I think we must try to utilize the blessing of the huge number of the population we have. Yeah. Engage their hands, engage their minds. The churches have money to build mega churches along all our express roads. When are the churches going to start building similar factories that is commensurate to the number of churches camp we have along Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, if Ibadan Express Road, and across every facet of Nigeria, where some members of the community are comfortable gathering millions of people on Sunday across the country, but are not able to engage them in what they can use to fight poverty. We shouldn't shy away from that fact. We should start addressing it from that angle too.
We would address all of this after now. So if you just tuned in, you're listening to Lagos Talks 981. Our guest this morning is Olatunbosun Abolarinwa, speaking on the current security situation in the country and what can be done about it. There's still more to come. Like, for example, is Nigeria too large a country to be effectively secured? Is the size the problem? You would find out if you stay tuned after now.
What does future forward banking mean to you? Speed, innovation, convenience, lifestyle goals, or just simply getting service that is designed just for you? Yeah, we thought you might like all of that and more. That is why we specially created Providus Bank for you to take care of your daily experiences. At Providus Bank, we believe that banking should be all about you and your business and how to get you to the next level. If you do not already have a Providus Bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77 684 387 or email businessconcierge@providusbank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providus Bank, future forward banking.
Press 1 for all your entertainment stories.
They're fun. They're boomers. That's big stories. Spice up your day with some entertainment on the Smooth Breakfast Show.
One of the greatest, ain't no debating those.
But your top trending stories from the entertainment scene on the front border. It's movies, fashion, music, and everything in between. Tune in to The Grapevine and keep up with the smooth paparazzi as we bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of entertainment. Grapevine every Tuesday and Thursday from 8:15 a.m. Prospect time.
Providus Bank, future forward banking.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. We're back. It's still Lagos Talks 981, and we're having security in the front burner this morning. And I've got Olatunbosun Abolarinwa, security analyst, speaking exclusively on this issue this morning. First, for starters, look, he's identified accountability as one of the reasons why this insecurity problems persist on the surface, everywhere across the length and breadth of the country. But before we went on the break, Abolarinwa, you raised the issue of in response to my question, saying we have a large population and it's seeming like people are unemployed, and right now that in itself is feeding into what is creating this problem of insecurity. So the question now I would ask before we go on the break is Is this country, in addition to the population, is Nigeria too large a country or a space to be effectively policed or secured?
Unfortunately, it will be bad if we start talking about that. And I don't want a situation where the DSS will come and start knocking on my door immediately after this show. But let me put this straight. You do with what you have at the moment as people and government of Nigeria. Nigeria has been in place and an entity before myself and yourself was born. And some people managed it in such a way that this did not happen. What did they do that we are not doing now? And let me tell you something about security. The whole package of security is an equation. It is what equation is in place out there. I don't know how to explain that to you in a layman language, but I'm speaking in security language now. For there to be an insecurity or fantastic security in any area or part of the world, there are certain equations in place. If this equation is well managed by the experts, when I talk about experts, I'm not talking about people who are carrying AK-47 and driving behind 39 million ELOCs with poor salaries. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about setting up a theater of experts who will address various issues in various areas and apply an applicable equation balancing to aid the type of insecurity they have. It's all about management. If the current government is ready to do it right, by looking away from their kinetic way of solving insecurity problem and look for other strategic way of solving insecurity problem. For instance, now, we can single out a village where there is a particular problem and look at what is causing the problem in that village. If we need to dig a trench around the village, if we need to isolate the village and get it right in that village and apply that to every other surrounding villages, that's okay. Let me give you a very good example. When a governor in the Northwest Nigeria or North Central Kogi State wanted to prevent election from holding in a particular village, he went there he carried a tractor and dug a big hole to prevent that. What does that governor do about insecurity movement in his area? If for politics and political gain reason, you can dig a gorge to prevent passage of people, lives and property into a particular location in order to gain whether good or bad democratic gain, what have you done about insecurity in that state? And that sometimes we need to go extreme when it comes to dealing with the issue of insecurity. Do we have names and lists of all our criminals and those that are supposed to deal with them? When the terrorists from Afghanistan perpetrated the issue of 9/11, the American government created a Guantanamo Bay, a special prison to deal with particular set of people. They don't take all their criminals there. They took the terrorists that perpetrated the worst crime on their soil to Guantanamo Bay. Some brains were reset. Some people don't want that to happen again. Another thing they did was they had a deal with Pakistan about insecurity, about how to deal with insecurity in Afghanistan. But when the problem was not solved, they invaded Pakistan in order to eliminate bin Laden. Those are some of what government needs to take.
Now you have raised, from your submission, you've raised the question of internal security and external approaches inward. And so this brings me to, what can we do internally to secure the country then before we approach the external aspect of what is causing insecurity in Nigeria?
The first one is accountability of the people we give security of our lives and properties to. Starting from the people that are commissioned into protecting us, they must give account. They are more of excuse now than giving accounts. People will die in a particular place and nobody is sacked, disciplined, or sanctioned. That's what has been happening. That must change. If the jurisdiction given to you to protect has issue, you must pay. As a bank teller, if your account is not balanced at the end of the day, you pay. It's not business as usual. If you are working at a filling station and you sold fuel, the liters is not commensurate with the amount you are giving, you are made to pay something. You failed a kind of sanction. So accountability is very, very important. The second one is attitudinal and orientational change. We have 200 million people who are good at complaining rather than doing something about the situation. Some people happen to be the head of security in the community where I live, in Lagos. And when I do my round walk in the evening, we still see people who left their gate open. An average gate now is 1 million. What is the essence of spending 1 million on a gate? And then carelessly you left it open. So we really need to change our attitude. We should stop complaining and start doing something right from our house. I have about 3 different warehouses all over Nigeria. I'm in only one of them in one state at the moment. And do you know what? It's my duty before I sleep every day and when I wake up to make sure that the perimeter of my house is well secured. Sometimes it costs money. Unfortunately, one of the ways by which we are losing money in this country at the moment is security apparatus we are importing. I guess the door that entered your flat today is not made in Nigeria. It's called Turkish or China door. So we are bringing concertina cable and putting it all over our fence. We are powering the concertina cable so that it can shock the thieves. Spending money in all those areas has not really helped us. It's only taking our internally revenue to benefit another country producing all those things. Let us turn it around. Let us change things. Let us have the number. I don't know if you have the number of your local DPO and the control room of the state where you reside. When was the last time you contacted them? Have you ever written a letter to your DPO about the problem you are having in your community and hold them accountable to that letter in case anything goes wrong about what you wrote about? So attitudinal and orientational change project need to be initiated.
Now, so far, now employment is one aspect you raised to solve the ready armies that will be recruited into these evil ventures. Now you talked about attitudinal change and of course accountability. This brings me now to the idea of having okay, let's touch on the external security now. Nigeria is bordered by different countries and they are also facing challenges in terms of insurgency and this banditry we are facing, and then it's slipping through the borders. It also goes back to the question I asked you earlier on. Is Nigeria too big to be secured, and which you avoided saying you would not want to have the DSS come knock on your door for giving away details like that? But again, that's the external now is now affecting our inner security and peace.
How do you blame the external, or why will you blame the external? Why is it not the other way around? Could your own problem in Nigeria be affecting your neighbors? Are your neighbors as big as Nigeria? Myself and yourself had it, that the Boko Haram operating in the northeast are moving between Cameroon and Nigeria. I don't want to assert that it is caused by carelessness of the Cameroonian or Niger government. I want you to believe that insecurity does not have boundary. As long as you allow the perpetrators to thrive, they don't have command and they don't have boundaries. They can go wherever they want. They can operate on the sea in form of piracy and cross-border. They can operate in the air by hijacking plane and blowing it off. They can operate on the land. And now, it now comes back that rather than blaming the size of the country, who are the people that are put into account to ensure that? What is the Minister for Interior doing to ensure that our borders are more protected? What are the armies doing? What are the navies doing on the sea? What are the air force doing in the air? I go to the airport every day. I don't know, maybe they do their work in plain clothes, but I have not really seen any airport official giving me a leaflet of what you do. I'm sure you've been outside the country before. And one of the things you hear outside in the other country is that from the microphone of the airport, they announce something about unattended baggages. That if you have it, I hear that all the time across the world when I travel. I don't hear that in Nigeria. On several occasions, I'm the one that will have to call the attention of the security of the airport to look at a package that somebody who ran to the toilet left behind. All these things are the area where we need to work. Personally, I'm not of the opinion of blaming anybody for any problem I'm facing as an individual or as a community. Let us do our best first. Then the other one where the other country seems to be having problem. Whatever happened in Niger is affecting America. The son of a clergy in Niger was kidnapped recently, and it took the special force, the Navy SEAL from America, to come there to rescue their victims. That speaks a volume about Africa and our attitude to security, and it is about the attitude that needs to change.
So when we come back after this, I would like to know what you think about state security, state police as an alternative to helping the number of maybe getting to shore up the number of security operatives in the country, if that would help. But after this time, stay tuned. You're listening to Smooth 98.1 FM, and it is time for Lagos Talks 981.
Future forward banking. For the best soul, R&B, jazz, and a bit of soul. Keep tuned in to Smooth 98.1.
I'll be for you.
This is Johnny True.
Thank you very much for being fine.
What does future forward banking mean to you? Speed, innovation, convenience, lifestyle goals, or just simply getting service that is designed just for you? Yeah, we thought you might like all of that and more. That is why we specially created Providence Bank for you to take care of your daily experiences. At Providence Bank, we believe that banking should be all about you and your business and how to get you to the next level. If you do not already have a Providence Bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77 684 387 or email businessconcierge@providencebank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providence Bank, future forward banking. Wake up, the Smooth Breakfast. So everything in the morning.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. It's gone 28 minutes now before we hit the 10 o'clock mark, and we're still with our special guest security analyst Olatunbosun Abolarinwa, helping us break down the insecurity situation in the country and what must be done headlong to restore sanity and bring a sense of relief to Nigerians to live within the space called the country. So let's get back to it. Now, some proponents have touted the idea of having state police to complement the federal police, and to see that would help in a way to get states to be able to police their spaces.
Hello?
Yes.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm not an advocate of state police for some reasons. But let me quickly point to you that either we like it or not, naturally, the state policing thing is already creeping in. Look at Lagos State now. Their traffic is not totally in the hand of the Nigerian police force and the road safety cops. They have the LASTMA, they have the LNS, they have all sorts of people taking care of their internal security. The whole of the Southwest Nigeria have introduced Amotekun, and they are not hiding it. When you travel on the express, you hear about their activities, taking care of things. So the state police is already here, whether we like it or not. But let me just tell you the downside to state police. The downside to state police is that Nigerian democratic structure is not yet mature enough to handle state police. If you see what some state governors are doing with the little power they have now. Some people turn them to personal tools. Some people turn them to thugs. Some people use them to gain democratic value, be it good or bad. And that makes it bad to think that when you now give guns and men and the money called security vote to that kind of individual who is just to rule the state for 4 years, what else can he do? Currently, with the current situation as it stands, I think if we're going to adopt the issue of state policing, it has to be selective. We have to look at your antecedents as an individual who is running the affair of the state before that is given to you. And let me tell you about another clash that is going to be created. We have a structure of the general officer commanding with his own apparatus located in every state. Will the state police override that, clash with that, or come under that? So why not, instead of bringing state police in a way, we can bring state police administration that can come up with fact and figure. We can bring researcher, experts who will go around to get fact and figure about what will happen and pass it on to the appropriate authority. Rather than what we have at the moment, I travel a lot by land across Nigeria, and I've seen some people with guns that I think they shouldn't be on the road. It is very, very difficult to know the difference between them and armed robber and kidnappers, sometimes in some part of Nigeria. But somebody put them in place there, and it's not going to look good. It's not going to end well. In fact, it's one of the fuel and catalysts fueling insecurity in some part of Nigeria today.
Just a moment. I'd like the listener to know we need their input into this conversation this morning on 014489981. If you've had any ugly security challenge recently, would like to know and how you went about solving it and what was your reaction. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Your name and location. Okay, Ajayi Olatunbosun, you're welcome this morning. So have you had any ugly security challenge recently, and then how did you go about it? What was your impression of how it was tackled? Then you can have your...
I want to talk about this. The reason for the insecurity generally in Nigeria is because there is a lot of vacuum in the community. There's total lack of administration in the community. And it is in the community that people are retired. You concentrate security on the health of the federal government or a little bit on the state. But the local government and the communities are completely left out. Nobody's securing them. And this is where these things are happening. You see, I guess they have been making a very good observation, contribution, but it's a stake about state police. I totally agree. In every democracy or federalism, in the US, they have 4 levels of government. Everybody has his own police. The federal government will take care of federal crimes like terrorism, like armed robbery, border. States will take care of their own. Local government will take care of their own. And even police communities. Please, this is the problem. That's the issue.
All right. Thank you very much, Ajayi Olatunbosun, for your time this morning. We really do appreciate you. So there you have it. Abolarinwa, it says, so far it's agreeing with what you've said, but on that state police issue, it's not applicable because it's everywhere you go, the state must be able to police and secure the space they call their own. So why are you opposed to that?
Because there is something in place at the moment. If your terms of state police is employing new set of people, training new set of people, and giving guns to new set of people in a particular state, you are asking for problem. In Osun State, as small and as young as they are at the moment, we have Ifa and Ilobu fighting against each other. Are the members and workers of the state police you want to introduce going to come from those two communities too? Are they going to use the gun to quell they have guns now that they are using to kill each other? at the moment. Why didn't they use that gun to protect themselves in the past? Why do we have politicians who have been accused of having thugs with guns? We see videos during political rallies. You see, we shouldn't jump from frying pan to fire. You mentioned about America where they have different arms of police. We have them here too. We have the federal policing at the federal level. In your state where you are now, you have a DIG overseeing your state. You have an AIG.
But it doesn't take instruction from the state governor. It doesn't. They have to refer to Abuja to get orders and approval.
Yes, yes, that is what we have at the moment. But I will disagree with you about the issue of getting instruction from the state governor. The state governor is the chief security officer of his state.
No, the police, the commissioner gets approval from Abuja, from the IG.
Yes. So you are looking for a situation whereby we are going to set up a state police that is going to be controlled by the governor.
But isn't that in places, in areas where you've traveled across the world, don't you see that's when they have the state policing thing and every level they have the sheriff and constables and all of those at that local level?
They got there. It didn't happen. Something happened that led them to that place.
But something is happening now that is leading us where what you are avoiding.
Sorry, this country you want to compare us with have been doing things right and yet not perfect for the past 200 years.
Looks like a fine place to get a call in for us now. Let's get one call in. Just a moment, please. There's a caller in. Good morning. Please, your name and location this morning, we'd like to know. Chika, have you had any security situation, ugly one lately, and how you went about it, if you were satisfied with the way it was handled?
I think I was able to resolve. But going forward on the conversation of the day, for me, I want to say that for me, I believe that there are two levels of approach to security, which is the natural security and then defensive security. And the first one ties with the second one. Natural security in the sense that, first and foremost, like they always said, and I don't mind disabled workshop. We cannot talk about the issue of security or tackling or solving problem of security without first and foremost tackling the issue of unemployment in the country. Because the primary reason or the primary motives of crime is employment. I believe if you actually get people employed, you take their minds far away from crime. Because your guests have actually made some selling points, which I agree. There are also some level, there are some things that the also say that I disagree. Saying that government is doing more, but that we can't actually blame government for everything. I mean, government should take the whole responsibility because this is primary reason why they are there, to protect life and property. And you ask a question, Nigeria is too big for the security agencies to handle. My answer is no, Nigeria is not too big. And I say this because when you take countries like India and China, then you know that their landmark is almost like times 10 or 4. They don't have the level of insecurity we have. And why is this so? It's because they've been able to tackle the problem of natural security, which is actually providing employment and jobs for their people, getting their people paid. So,
thank you, Chika. We have to let you go now.
There's a need for us, I always say there's a need for us to be intentional about the set of people that we employ or that we appoint to head our security agencies. When you look at the levels of those heading our security agencies, you cannot but agree with me that most of them are there just because they are political leaning to those in power. Because if you actually do the proper critique, I don't think that the right set of people they ought to be there. And until we begin to get this right, I believe that this conversation will continue having it without any problem.
Thank you so much, Chika, for your time this morning. But before you get to react to any of this, the conversation, we'll just like the listener to know they can also send in their messages to 0809-444-0981. And one of such I'm looking at this morning, I see something from Dapo from Satellite where he says, when we survey the Nigerian security situation, just like the speaker said, there are many contributing factors like unemployment, religious idleness, size of the country, alongside so much more. For his own perspective, regionalism is the ultimate solution, which will entail rewriting the constitution or at least amending it. Lack of charity and neglecting the brotherhood of man is really eating into our intestines, and not what being agreed, not being greedy will go a long way to prevent suspicion among neighbors. Rich people don't get their adequate sleep at night just because any poor deaconary is busy watching and monitoring their movement. We'll let it rest here. After now, we'll get your reaction to the callers' responses shortly. So it's still Smooth 98.1 FM and it's Lagos Talks 981.
Spaceship Boy, and it's your breakfast.
I thought we had something for 45.